In the new year upon us, time to reflect and look back, plan ahead. But it's also a time to join the Return Us podcast. What's happening, everybody? We
What
back up
up?
back in the building, man. Thank you all for being with us in 2025. We hope to see you in 2026. We got more to come. It's only going to get better from here. Once again, I'm Marvin.
I'm William McCoy.
And this is the Return Us podcast. Ain't nothing changed. You know the vibes. We're just here to talk about all things entrepreneurs and, empower to our people. So, with that being said, today we just got to go. Oh, I almost forgot. I don't normally do this, man, but I got to put a PSA out there for all my dudes that have been in the gym, all my people that have been in the gym for years to come. Look, man, if you're new, going into your New Year's resolutions, first of all, I'm proud of you. I love you. I pray for your success. But there's a couple housekeeping rules, all right? The bench is for the big dogs, you know what I'm saying? Squat rack. Y'all start with the Smith machines. I get it. You're trying to get content.
Not the Smith
But
machine.
I will thrust kick you if I circle around, get some water, and come back, and you're still just taking pictures, and I don't see no reps. I'm gonna leave it there, and we can go from there in 2025 into 2026. I still love you though.
Yeah, I
Am
figured
I-
that. I mean, as an avid gym goer, I love everybody. The fact that they on their 2026 goals, love it. Keep up the hard work. Appreciate you what you're doing, what you're going through. Um, but yeah, if you guys could just, let's work on the diet first. You know what I mean? Let's start there. Let's start there, and then we can build on that. And then phase into the gym. Right? We don't all got to try to get into the gym at the same exact time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can phase in, get the meat and vegetables, no fruits, cut out the sugar, no processed foods. Start with that, and then let's phase yourself on to the bench and everything else that we got going on. But with that said, a lot of you guys are going to be building up your personal brand and networking when it comes to the gym. Some of you guys are going to have aspirations for being a fitness influencer. I would say don't, but if that's your aspiration, you know what I mean. then, then this show is for you. Build your personal brand, right, and your networking. So Marvin, start them off. What are some things that you've learned about networking?
So you've heard the saying that your network is your net worth. It couldn't be more true. In fact, every time we talk to entrepreneurs, I'm personalize it. All of my journeys, all of the things that I found any traction with, not a lot of the key components didn't come from within. By that I mean I had to take that leap of faith and just talk about my idea, talk about my vision, and what that did was it expand my network. Because the reality is you don't know everybody. We all understand the law of attraction. We understand the law of 7 degrees of separation. You're talking to somebody who has a cousin, an uncle, and contact that can help bring your vision to fruition. And one of the things we struggle with is like, I don't know. Some people, I get it. Some people might be more introverted, but the conclusion of this is like the more you talk about your idea, the more you try to associate with other like-minded people, the better your network grows and the better chances of success you're going to have. It's just really that simple.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that point. A lot of times, um, when it comes to networking, people take it as an optional thing, right? On our last show, we had somebody who we're very close to, Nathaniel of Burkina Faso, with a company, um, Kokula Energy, and he brought up that point, and it told me it was like, man, that really is such an important thing. Networking and building a personal brand is just as important as getting money. In fact, a lot of times you can't go out and get that money from founders or from investors until you have built up that personal branding and that network. And so we decided to do a show on that. Um, so specifically to that point, because networking and personal branding is the only difference between you and the millions and potentially billions of other people out there. And I can tell you from personal experience that it is super underrated, but when it comes to raising money or capital, it's one of the most important things that investors look for if they're looking to invest.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So, I always like to, I want to talk about like the why, like why people don't network. We can break it down to a lot of reasons, but I've noticed like, some people are just, they focus on the product, they focus on their technical knowledge, and they they say to themselves, I'm going to put all my energy into the product, the service, whatever the business model is. I totally understand that. But then they also forget the key component, like you are people people do business, people invest, and people build with people they like. That's the bottom line. That's we're social creatures. That's human nature. So the more personable you are, the more people can connect with you, the more likely your idea, your business, your service is going to resonate with them. And then that just is a trickle down to every other aspect, whether it's the raising of funds, whether it's the allocation of capital, or whether people promote you, or whether people even mention you again. It just
No, you're right.
depends
Yeah.
on that initial connection.
What
I
are some
mean,
places
like,
that you find it good to connect with people?
wait, say it again.
What are some of the places that you find it's good to connect with people?
Oh, 100%, man. I'm about to give y'all my list. We all know the golf course. I don't care if you ain't never take a Groupon class. I don't care where you are in the world. Stuff happens on the golf course. It's a great networking opportunity. So number two, I found some of the greatest connections and I've made have been inside the gym and inside the sauna, right? Because generally you're around people who are you can already tell they're disciplined, they are high functioning, they have some plan, they are. And a side note to this, that's why being in shape is very important too, and having and dressing well too, because you attract people. And even if you have just an initial connection where you can have a conversation, you can establish that connection. But yeah, the gym, the sauna, or just even a nice restaurant, right? Sitting at the bar, you should always be ready to give a, I wouldn't call it a pitch, but you should always be ready to speak about yourself and your product, right? So
Yeah.
saunas, golf course, restaurants, anywhere where like-minded, competent, capable people congregate, uh, is a great place to network. But those are just three examples for me personally.
That's dope.
So let me ask you a question. Why do you think so many people struggle with the idea of networking, especially founders and entrepreneurs?
I mean, I just feel like they put it as secondary, right? Like they get working on their project, and it's really easy to say, like when you're working on a project, well, I don't have time to go out and network. You know what I'm saying? I'm working on a project, or the proof of my product will be my calling card, or you know, it's not that big of a deal. Once I launch it, then I'll go out and network, right? Um, and that's fine to say, right? And I get the point. I'm gonna be honest with you. For me, when a lot of times when I say those things, I was really like nervous about going out and networking, and so I would say these things as a way to try to keep from doing the hard thing, which is going out and meeting people and talking to them about what they were interested in. And so a lot of times people fear what people may say about their idea or how it will make them look or rejection in their mind, right? And so they don't go out and say those things. I want to do bring up a quote though. Margaret J. Whitley said, "Relationships are all there is. Everything in the universe only exists because it's in relationship to everything else, right? Nothing
Amen.
exists in isolation." And so, you know, she summed up, Wheatley summed up why networking is so important and how you cannot avoid it. It doesn't matter how great your project is. If you don't have networking or if you're not building a personal brand, which is what we'll kind of lead into next, um, then you really don't have a chance out here. What do you think about personal branding, though, Marvin? What's your thoughts on personal branding?
Like I was saying earlier, you are your brand. Every time you step out, what people, whether you like it or not, they're going to judge you, right?
Yeah.
And so you've heard it said you only have 30 seconds to make an impression. So if you are your brand, your brand and your company are one and the same. Iron Man is Tony Stark, and Tony Stark is Iron Man, right? But when you when you represent yourself, you have to be able to convey excitement. You have to be able to convey the things you want, because again, people are going to buy into you before they buy into your product, right? Because let's be honest, there's probably 100 other people that may be having something that's comparable to what you're doing. But like Will was saying, having that universal connection, that having that relationship, even if it's brief, even if you just find some common ground, it means way more than cold calling on LinkedIn and having AI chatbots and this. People want that connection. That's just the way I've always seen it.
No, I mean I agree with you, man. I mean, like, networking and personal branding go hand in hand, and personal branding is something that people struggle with. Again, I struggled with it for a long time. It was very difficult for me to go out there and start posting initially, and even with
Yeah,
my other companies, because you fear a couple of things. You fear, well, what if an investor sees it and they don't like it and they decide not to invest? But that's the opposite. Investors want to see your personal brand being represented. It creates consistency in their mind. It shows traction, right? And most importantly, it shows you actually believe in and willing to go out and tell the world and be judged on whatever it is that you're promoting, right? And
yeah,
investors want to see that you have the courage, because if you're going to be the CEO or the founder, the person moving this, they want to be able to see that that person is willing to go out and take the heat, whether good or bad, when it comes to their idea. And if you're not building a personal brand, then it's hard for investors to be able to see that. And so a lot of times they'll pass. They'll tell you stuff like you don't have traction, right? Or we want to see more, but they don't tell you exactly what it is. But they've looked up your personal brand, and your personal brand doesn't promote. If you're afraid of saying something, for example, that an investor may not like, which is what I said earlier, then let's keep it clear. That's not the investor for you anyway. Because if you're promoting your brand and the investor sees it and he says, well, I don't like the fact that you are, for example, my focus is Africa. I don't like the fact that you focus on Africa so much. Well, bet there's no need for us to have a conversation because my focus is Africa, right? No need for us to talk anymore at this point because my whole focus is Africa, right? So
right.
investors, personal branding is going to be important when it comes to both finding the right investors that you want, but then also eliminating those and having to talk to people who are not going to be interested in you anyway.
Oh man.
What are your thoughts?
So yeah, bro, I couldn't. That's as real as it gets. With that also comes consistency, and like you touched on a point, man. Sometimes you're just afraid to put yourself out there. You're afraid of how you be perceived. But in the world we live in right now, it's kind of an inevitability that you're gonna need to post. You're gonna need, because people have to have clear insight on what you're doing,
Right.
what lessons they're gonna learn, like what is your truth. There's so many things people need to learn about you, and especially if you're going the marketing route and the networking route using social media, which is a great tool in itself to do that. You have to be consistent. You have to put these things out there so that people can get a sense of you. So, traction now is digital a lot of times. You could build an entire brand virtually, and we should be leveraging that. And once you network that, now your networking plus your brand equals opportunity. And opportunity is a magnet, and it's going to attract the things that you need if you're consistent. Um,
Yeah,
will,
no, to
will
your point, I agree with you 100%. Like, when you are having a conversation with somebody, you need to be able to show that you have traction. Investors want to see traction. And a lot of times that traction can turn from like, hey, I got this great idea, we've made this amount of money, to I've got this great idea, we made this amount of money, and oh look, I got 10,000 people, or not even 10,000, 1,000 people who are following me, and every single day I'm posting, and I'm gaining X amount of people who are interested in what I'm doing, and these people are telling me feedback like they want more, or they're willing to go ahead and jump into my platform, or they're willing to use my product, right? And so investors see that a lot of times and they say, okay, we don't have to dump a bunch of money into building your product. You got that. And you seem to have a business model. But if they don't see that you have a personal brand, a lot of times they'll say to yourself, well, we want to see more traction, right? And that traction comes in the fact that they want social proof that people are interested in what you're saying. Because again, you as a founder are going to be on the front lines of everything that's going on. And if you have an issue with being seen or you don't want to be seen, then that's going to be a red flag to investors because they're going to say to themselves, well, you know, is this person really the person to be on the front lines because they're not willing to take the heat, or are they hiding from it, or when something tough happens, are they going to run from it? But if they can see that you are out there posting and you're out there talking and you're out there taking the heat for whatever people say to you, if they agree or whether or not agree, right? Then they will take that into consideration and say to themselves, well, wow, I really, this person has all the things that we need to go ahead and move forward. They just need some rocket fuel, and then they can turn this thing from this much to this much, right? And those are
Yeah,
the things that investors want to see. They want to see consistency.
that's it, man. That's it. So I want you everybody to take that with you into this new year, and we want to thank everybody for the support, the outreach, the networking opportunities. And just thank you for the support, honestly, from the bottom of our hearts. We can't do this without you, and we want to meet more of you. So we want you to tune in, man. So recap and just get out there, start small, talk to your inner circle, branch out, take chances, don't miss opportunities, don't listen to that doubting voice in your head. Just if you believe in your idea, somebody else will as well. And before you know it, you talk to seven people, they tell seven people, you understand the law of multiplication. It's going to spread. And before you know it, now your brand is out there. So
Right.
don't miss out.
Absolutely right. One other note I want to make is that we have this Returners podcast, and we have founders on here weekly, regularly pitching. Right. These founders are all in Africa because we're putting our chips in Africa. Right. As Black people, we're saying Africa is the place that we want to put our chips. That's the place that we see the opportunity. Fastest growing economy in the world, youngest population, 70% of the arable land, 40% of the critical minerals that we need, right? Africa is where you want to be. It's going to be Wakanda, right? If you know founders who are out there in Africa who are looking to pitch, please, by all means, send them our way. Send them to the Returners podcast. Send them to my personal, social media links. Will return us, right? All of them will return us. We will return us, right? Send them to Marvin, right? And his links. You'll see us out there. Send them to us because we want to show specifically the diaspora, but anybody, that Africa is the next place to be. In fact, it's not the next, it is the place to be now. It's now the place. And if you don't get in now, I always want to have people keep this in mind about Africa. Think about yourself. If you had a great idea and you had a business and you had all the resources, and everybody told you, I like what you got. I know you got all these things, but I'm gonna wait until you hear before I invest. How would you feel as a person when somebody says that to you? Well, I'm gonna wait till you got this there and that there before I go over there and I take a look. I don't want to miss out on the opportunities there. I want my children to have that. I think it's the best opportunity for them. But for my own people out there, in the diaspora, don't wait for Africa to get to a certain level before you invest. Because what you have here in the Americas or Europe or anywhere else, Brazil or anywhere else, there's a large concentration of diaspora, is not going to be anything compared to there. And you don't want to miss out on the opportunity and then try to jump in. Because at that point, you'll be trying to jump in and saying, well, look, I'm one of you. And they will be saying, just like you would if you were in the reciprocal of this, yeah, we pretty much already built this up. I mean, we got this side gig for you, there's opportunity here for you, but you're gonna have to start from the ground level, right? Whereas
Yeah.
everybody else who saw the vision early, who believed in their people early, will have a head start on everyone. They will already be in that atmosphere saying, look, we live in our best lives. We got companies that are going on. We own real estate. We got farms. We got, you know, livestock. We got agriculture. We got commerce, right? Things that we don't necessarily have access here, you can have that access there, but you have to be interested in starting now. You have to start now. So by all means, if you know entrepreneurs, or if you're interested in investing in the future of Africa, please by all means hit us up. Karuti.com will be where you'll be able to see a lot of these companies, these upcoming companies, and then you'll be able to pledge on there as well. Any final statements from you, Marvin?
No, just other than just keep growing with us. Again, thank you, and lock in with us. Everything Will said is what I believe in, share, and echo. And opportunity starts with with a thought, and then we grow it as a network and as a vision. And we want you to be part of that because we all family over here. So Return Us Podcast. We're here and we're going to be here, and we'll see you in 2026.
Thanks for joining us, guys. See you. This episode will come out in 2026, so we'll see you then. Take care.
Don't be good, be great.